Hi everybody, I'm Amy Jones from Human Impact Leadership, and today I'm with Gareth Mitchell, who is a Senior Executive in Technology. So thanks for coming along today, Gareth, and looking forward to talking to you a bit more around what this business is all about.
So tell me about Human Impact Leadership and what it's all about, where we're heading.
Okay, so Human Impact Leadership is bringing the future of change that we're seeing in the world to the leadership programs that businesses need to take where they are now into the future. So the World Economic Forum has just produced a report to say that 44% of jobs will be disrupted in the next 5 years. So this change is coming, it's here now, and we as leaders of businesses need to be prepared for what the human impact will be on our people, on our roles, and what the future looks like with AI and technology. So the time is now, and we need to start thinking strategically and engaging leaders on what that looks like to take us forward. If we don't get in front of it now, we're going to get behind.
So what drove you to embark on Human Impact Leadership?
Well, I'm really passionate around leadership and bringing people on the journey and businesses being ready for what's coming in the future. And at the moment, I feel like we're seeing the fastest rate of change in the world has ever seen in terms of AI and technology. And the tech teams are getting on board and they're excited about it, as you well know, but the people side of that change needs to be brought on the journey alongside the technology, because if people aren't engaged and the human side of that is not brought along on the journey, then we're going to get left behind.
So in terms of leaders, New Zealand's 10 years behind generally in terms of embracing technology. What are leaders going to get from interacting and engaging with Human Impact Leadership?
Yeah, I think we need to really look at what's happening globally in this space and start to understand the trends. So the stats are there, and some of them I mentioned earlier, but we are going to see the biggest rate of disruption. Like, they are thinking structural changes to businesses will be up to 23% turnover within 4 years. These are real facts that businesses need to embrace, and we need to start talking about this in executive rooms, in boardrooms. What is this going to look like for the people side? Because of course automation and all the changes we've seen coming into businesses with ChatGPT and everything else, people are getting used to that now, but there's so much that people bring to the equation. So what are the roles where it's really critical to have a smile at the table? Like, you can't automate that, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so if I'm a leader of a business and I'm struggling with where my digital strategy's heading, what does this new emerging tech mean? What value am I going to get out of interacting with Human Impact Leadership?
So firstly, the key thing is getting the psychology of leaders ready for the change that's coming, because I think a lot of people, and myself included at times, you go, oh, I don't really understand that, so I'm not sure what that means for the business. Someone will tell me when I need to know, but it's here, it's coming, it's fast, it's moving quickly. So we need to get the tech people in the room with the leadership teams and start to take the business forward, parallel the human side of it, leading the HI to the AI, I've been calling it. We've got to parallel this change together and then start to look at the strategy, but keep it concurrent.
And how do you believe businesses will pick up the pace? Because at this point in time, if you're not getting on board, you're going to get left behind. Second place, last place in this race.
I think the agility of businesses to adapt to this is really important. So we need to start getting the stats in front of people that are making these key decisions around what this looks like for their people. So yes, automation is coming. Yes, we are going to see these changes that we have not seen before, but do we understand the human impact on the people and the structure and the roles and how those are going to shift as well? We don't want people to be left behind, right? We want to be upskilling them so that they're ready for the roles and they're prepared for the future, and that they know that they do have a place in the workforce in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and make sure that they really can bring what's needed and continue to grow in their own careers. But to identify what each individual business needs to take themselves forward into the future, we need to know what roles, what people, and how do we get people's skills up to where they need to be, or there's going to be a huge gap in the market.
And so if you look at the way things have changed over the last 2 years, ChatGPT, AI now is common language in most businesses, but the change is going to be quite unknown and unsettling and pretty fast. So how do leaders deal with unknown emerging technology. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we know it's going to impact.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the first thing is we've got to get hungry for the change, right? We need to start to understand this is here. What is it going to look like? At the moment, I think there's a lot of fear around it. Like if you think of when computers were first introduced to a business or email, it's like, what does this mean? Does this mean that a computer is going to take over my job? Well, no, it didn't. We all have embraced technology and that's very normal. We all have emails and phones and all these things that 2 decades ago we didn't. This will be the same, but we as leaders have the opportunity right now to influence more greatly than we ever have before, I believe, whether this is a positive change or whether it's seen as a negative change. And at the moment there's a lot of fear around what that looks like. So we need to work through the fear as leaders, understand what that looks like, get really smart and strategic around embracing technology, and then take businesses forward paralleled with the people side. Or people will start to try and get the workarounds. I don't want to use ChatGPT because that might mean my job isn't there, but actually this could mean your job evolves and you get a whole lot more new skills. But if we haven't made that okay and that more jobs will come and the future will look like this and we're painting a picture for it, there's going to be fear and the engagement and culture isn't going to work alongside.
Great. So what's next steps for human impact leadership?
Well, at the moment I'm talking to quite a lot of people globally around what the trends are, so particularly in the United States where I've worked before, and the Americans I find are quite embracing of innovation and really wanting to understand what this looks like. So I want to get around more tech environments and understand more about it myself so that we're tailoring programs to organisations to meet the demand, as well as the kind of legislative side of it. It's not particularly well regulated here in New Zealand. Companies introducing policies around use and misuse of AI and what that looks like in the workplace. But at the moment, the key thing for me is getting the right associates on board, so we're bringing the right content to the market and preparing people genuinely for what's ahead and supporting them through this time of change.
So what do you hope to achieve in terms of human impact leadership? What's the goal?
Well, I'm really passionate around people and people reaching their full potential, and I believe that so much of your job and life satisfaction is related to your direct relationship with your employer or your boss and what you do day to day. So I really want businesses to be able to embrace this change that's coming and create a positive spin on what AI and change and automation means for businesses. And if people feel like they can come on the journey with the companies that they work for into the future, they're going to be happier, feel more fulfilled, have a bigger impact. And so human impact leadership to me is that we as humans have the biggest opportunity right now to make the most change we've ever had, particularly if you're in a role of influence. I just don't think there's ever been a more important time than now to really take your own leadership to the next level and bring people with you rather than have them fearful, afraid of the future and left behind. And that feeds into other things I'm passionate about too, like mental health and fulfillment and all of that too. So that's what I want to do, and seeing people feel engaged and alive at work is important to me.